Swallowed star. Demon Mountain actually has treasures the virtual universe would desire. Luo Feng thought within. The history of Demon Mountain was extremely ancient. It had existed long before the Virtual Universe Company had taken control of the absolute beginning region. A naturally formed mountain as such would definitely have treasures that were out of the ordinary. It would be normal for them to allow undyings to explore it. However, are there really such treasures? Luo Feng frowned. Very likely. The aboriginals of Nine Star Ocean all call Demon Mountain the inheritance forbidden land for hundreds of millions of years. They definitely wouldn't call it as such for no reason, there's definitely a meaning behind it. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed more, and Babata's scan showed that the old man said it with full confidence that there were frequent undyings that explored the mountain. This were probably verified information too. Undyings entering here, for what? For something to attract the undyings, these must not be normal treasures at all. That old man said that the Virtual Universe Company frequently arranges for high-level beings and undyings to enter. He probably has me mixed up with their high-level beings. They don't know that I'm currently just on a training mission. Luo Feng smiled, suddenly he was stunned. No. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed, a look of fear. Training mission. Wrong. 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 His mind flashed with thoughts, he instantly guessed a few of the mysteries. Only a bystander can see the picture clearly. Indeed, this is true, those of us undergoing these training missions mostly haven't understood this. However, the aboriginals have seen the truth. Training mission. If it were purely for risk, the Virtual Universe Company could completely create a risk environment specially for the geniuses to do it in. Why would they need to send them to such a far-away naturally produced mysterious place? His eyes gleamed. While we are to train on one side, the more important thing is, for us to get the opportunity to evolve even further in a huge burst. From the Blood River World mission, I can see how the virtual universe plans its nurture. The Blood River crystal of that world is a contraband item, however, they still let us do the mission. Why? For us to get the chance to absorb the crystals, raising both our comprehension and strength. His eyes glowed, right, just like that. The training missions aren't simply for training. There should still be other miraculous encounters awaiting us geniuses. Luo Feng squinted his eyes. In his mind the many memories of the dangerous level missions flashed. During the first Blood River World mission, he had a miraculous encounter and gained much from it. However, obviously, this was an opportunity supplied by the Virtual Universe Company. The second Dragon Tower Planet mission, as he hunted each dragon then, he found it strange, the number of types of dragons there was simply too many and extremely powerful. For an ancient planet to produce so many powerful dragon types, that was simply unbelievable. On top of that, the sacred land of the planet was a majestic tower, named Dragon Tower. There were too many powerful dragon types surrounding that tower. He simply finished the mission back then without actually going to explore in. The third Space Void mission, an endless cliff floated in space, and in between were peculiar thick chains. This existence was simply too peculiar. Luo Feng was extremely cautious then, only entering a few 1,000 kilometers into its depths, collecting the required mission items before leaving immediately. 5 dangerous level missions. This 6th mission was the impossible level mission. The mission seemed simple with its requirements for completion, as there were only 2 of them. One was to survive 3 months, 100,000 points, and the second was to survive for 3 years, 300,000 points. These places, none of them are that simple. Just testing and training alone, the Virtual Universe Company, which has everything, doesn't need to go to such lengths. They could totally create a dangerous environment to train its people, rather than send them to such crazy secret region places. And like the Blood River crystals, they are contraband. Luo Feng frowned, I'm sure these places still have some secrets. And these secrets, some of them should have great benefits for us. What was the aim of the Virtual Universe Company? To train, and to nurture of course. But, the miraculous encounters these places had, were actually the true hidden rewards for the missions. Indeed. It should be like that. Otherwise, there'd be no need for us to go to such dangerous places just to gain experience. No such need at all. Letting us go to Blood River World, they are probably wishing for us to become Blood Warriors and even Black Warriors. Heading to Dragon Tower, Space Void, they probably had some other motives. By letting absolute geniuses enter Demon Mountain, they probably wish too that we'd acquire the inheritance of the Forbidden Land. Luo Feng nodded. The more he thought about it, the more it seemed right. This was the true thought process of their nurture and training, giving them additional opportunities while training. Whether it's a Black Warrior, or acquiring the inheritance, they'd both be very hard. Otherwise, there'd long be a genius legendary story of one who've acquired it over these trillion years. The Virtual Universe Company wouldn't then need to keep sending undyings in. Luo Feng nodded. This ancient Demon Mountain most definitely has treasures. And acquiring them would be extremely difficult. After all, the Virtual Universe Company only gave one chance to acquire them to each genius. Right. Definitely. Tianshi Palace is stationed above the Blood River world, and within it was such a level of absolute being. The Space Void too had undyings that trained hard within. This Demon Mountain base had large amounts of sector lords and undyings stationed too. Just from the majestic palace alone, one would know how many undyings were around. Luo Feng thought and nodded. It's no secret, if it were just a training ground, why would they put so many undyings around? Luo Feng stood on the frozen ground and pondered, the more he thought, the more sure he was, and he smiled excitedly. Luo Feng, 19.6 kilometers ahead of you there's a 39 tall bear-like creature, completely silver-white beast, and it's coming over. Babata's voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed and he scanned ahead. There, he saw a simple and honest silver-white bear. Its eyes were white too, and it almost looked like a huge ice statue slowly walking over. Wild beast, one of the threats next to the demon notes. Wild beasts were special life forms naturally formed in Demon Mountain. Any plan against their low intelligence was ineffective. From the natural energy it emits, its strength is at universe level 3. Babata's voice resounded in his mind. Howl. That white bear looked at Luo Feng and immediately let out a howl, rushing over. So. Its speed was extremely fast, as it became a blur and reached right before Luo Feng. Such a cute beast. Luo Feng brandished his blood shadow blade and instantly flashed past the bear, simultaneously slicing its head. Chi! After its head was cut off, the solid ice chunks smashed against the stones on the walls. However, the beast continued to attack, howling, howl, howl. Attacking Luo Feng. Chi! Chi! His blade flashed over and over. Luo Feng harmed it over and over, only after it was cut into 4 or 5 pieces did the countless ice chunks fall to the ground. What a peculiar life form. Its entire body is formed from the solid ice chunks. Even after I cut it up, its simple consciousness doesn't dissipate. Luo Feng looked shocked and curiously at the countless ice chunks. He saw them slightly struggle, and 2 pieces swiftly began to fuse back together. So the information that said these beasts don't die, it's like that. Luo Feng shook his head, swiftly leaving. He didn't have the patience to keep fighting against such a simple intellect beast that was akin to a cat or dog. His luck was good this time, he met a weaker beast. The strongest of the beasts were akin to a sector lord pinnacle, and they usually appeared in a group. His eyes gleamed. So. He immediately became a beam of light. With his sector lord level 6 strength he almost instantly followed the winding pathways and rushed 1,000 kilometers. There, a domain lord level 8 and a universe level 9 youth were carefully proceeding, chatting softly, "Grandpa, we just have to press on for another 2 days and it'll be a month. Then we'll be able to join the virtual universe company." "Who's there?" The two of them immediately saw a flash flew over, their expressions changed and they fled. Rumble. The burning flame fiercely expanded over, engulfing the several km area. The domain lord level 8 old man and universe level 9 youth were instantly burnt to death. The black-horned skinny youth's burning eyes scanned at universe level 9 youth's body surroundings, no cloud contact vine armor. After which he waved his hand and acquired the space bracelet and ring, scanning them. No red tag. This universe level 9 isn't the target the god wants. The black-horned youth shook his head. "I haven't found the target even after acquiring over 1,000 black tags. I should continue." The black-horned youth continued to search again, extending his world energy to over 1,000 kilometers in area. The chilly breeze howled through the icy pathways. Luo Feng pressed forward at lightning speed through the bone-chilling cold. Yow! See! Rumble! Almost as though his piercing blade-like willpower was hit by a sudden powerful formless wave, causing him to be taken aback. His body shuddered a little, his expression changed. "Terrifying, I haven't let down my guard at all, and this hypnotism power actually rose by 100 times suddenly." Luo Feng was shocked within. The wind mixed with the hypnotism seemed to combine to form a very powerful combo, causing his solid willpower to slightly tremble. The true threats usually come when it seems most safe. Indeed, demon notes. He squinted his eyes, progressing forward for 1,000 kilometers and arrived within a crystal ice-like world. Countless layers of ice covered the stone floors, forming a vast and yet beautiful cave, and on the walls were naturally formed beautiful marks all over. A total of 816 caves. Which do I enter? Luo Feng gazed about. Suddenly, his gaze landed on a distant octagon-shaped cave. He felt something special coming from that deep cave. This one. Relying solely on his instinct, he swiftly entered through that cave. At that intersection of the 817 caves, there would occasionally be an aboriginal coming from one of the caves before entering yet another. Half an hour later. The black-horned skinny man walked out of a certain cave, looking at the other 816, frowning. So many. His gaze landed on the same octagon-shaped cave. This one feels different, I'll go take a look. So. With just one step he had stepped deep into that cave. The deep cave was 12 kilometers wide, with varying heights throughout. The ice that covered the walls formed stalactites from above or even weird and peculiar ice statutes throughout. The black-horned skinny man walked while expanding his world energy up to 1,000 kilometers around. Domain level 8. He frowned, his body became a blur and simultaneously chased over 1,000 kilometers, looking at the distant silhouette rushing over. The large bearded white-horned middle-aged man's expression changed as he swiftly fled. He shouted, "Flame Sector Lord, I am from the Mass Star Sect." Rumble. The flames burst forth and instantly the surrounding area became a sea of fire. That domain level 8 middle-aged man was instantly burnt to death. "The fact that you know I am Wu Qi means you really cannot live." The skinny man snorted coldly. "Whether or not I kill my target this time, even if I acquire enough black tags, I still won't hand them over, I'll pretend I failed and return." I am after all a sector lord, I don't want to be bossed about within the virtual universe company. There were two perspectives of the 9-star ocean warriors. One of them was to become a strong warrior, joining the virtual universe company and exploring the universe. Many didn't want to simply remain in 9-star ocean. The second one were the powerful people in 9-star ocean. They didn't wish to join the virtual universe company's lower levels, only to be ordered about by others. And the flame sector lord Wu Qi was the latter. He has quite a lot of black tags, a total of 726. The skinny man shook his head. I didn't wish to collect them at all, and now I've already got over 2,000. He continued forward. Half an hour later. HM. Universe level. The skinny man's eyes gleamed. He immediately used his world energy to scan this new enemy. Let's hope it's the target. The sector lord Wu Qi thought, having already failed 100 times. So. He instantly shot towards his target. About 1,000 kilometers away from the black-horned skinny man, in the same vast pathway, Luo Feng continued for wads. Hua! The world energy brushed past him. Luo Feng didn't even seem to realize, pressing forward. Luo Feng. World energy just passed you. Babata, who had maintained his scanning mode all this while fiercely shouted within Luo Feng's consciousness. What? Luo Feng jumped with shock. Hurry and go. Luo Feng unleashed his movement and instantly fled into the distance, flying swiftly. Even though he was fleeing, he wasn't too nervous, because he had encountered a few sector lords these past few days in Demon Mountain and he had left them in his dust. And sector lords normally didn't care too much about chasing down a universe-level punk, hence he wasn't really in danger. It should be like before, as long as the distance gets far enough, I should be fine. Luo Feng thought. Luo Feng, he's less than 20 kilometers away from you. Babata shouted, he's here, he's caught up. Luo Feng turned around fiercely to look. Rumble. The black-horned man that had turned into a red flame was visible now. He was staring at Luo Feng, his killing intent obvious. Damn, is there a need for a sector lord to chase down a universe level? Luo Feng gritted his teeth. Shua. So. The Masha clansman immediately unleashed the illusionary techniques and its speed exploded. At the moment of life and death. He couldn't care about anything else. The black-horned skinny man Wu Qi, who had been casually chasing after the universe level 9 that he discovered, had one thought in mind: he'd rather kill the wrong target than let him off. Ah! He actually discovered me and fled. What a pity, his speed is too slow. The sector lord Wu Qi happily chased. His casual speed alone was much faster than Luo Feng's human max speed. Very quickly the distance between the both of them reached below 20 kilometers, the two of them could see each other. At that time, Luo Feng instantly changed his bodies. He seems to have undergone some change. Wu Qi thought. As Luo Feng swapped his bodies with almost zero time lapse, plus the exact similar appearance, dressing, life energy etc. The sector lord had indeed detected a slight change, but he never would have expected that Luo Feng had already swapped his bodies. The Masha clansman. Instantaneous speed explosion. In terms of maximum speed, the Masha clansman couldn't compare to the sector lord level 6. However, in terms of instantaneous speed, it still far exceeded that of Wu Qi. So, in an instant, Masha Luo Feng had already passed 1,000 kilometers, disappearing from Wu Qi's world energy scanning area. What? So fast? Wu Qi changed his expression. How can a universe level 9 be that fast? At least within 9-star ocean, there's no such absolute being. To reach such shocking speed, he definitely has some special methods. I believe that he is the target the god wants. Wu Qi had already killed many universe level 9s, yet he had never met one so peculiar. Firstly, he detected him early, and secondly was his speed in fleeing. This made Wu Qi realize, he could very likely have met the target. Chase. Rumble. Just like a 100m race before the great Nirvana on Earth, if one ran in a straight line he could maybe complete it in 10 seconds. However, if it were a S-shaped route, with 10 over curves in the 100m race, one definitely couldn't run at his max speed. This was just a theory. Sector Lord Wu Qi and Masha Luo Feng both could instantly accelerate and decrease in speed. To make turns under such circumstances, the space genius with extremely high comprehension of the space laws, the Masha clansman could unleash its greatest strength, instantaneous acceleration. Xiao. 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 With 3 flashes, he vanished from Sector Lord Wu Qi's over 10,000 kilometers in area world energy scanning. Luckily the pathways were curved. Otherwise I would have to rely on the golden horned beast. Masha Luo Feng thought as he fled. Through Babada's scanning, he realized the enemy should be Sector Lord level 6. 9-star Ocean however was different. 9-star Ocean was governed properly. Amongst the 9 ancient planets were many sects with undyings with universe ships. Hence in terms of weapons etc., 9-star Ocean far exceeded Blood River world. For the Masha clansman killing Si Yong was already extremely hard. And this punk, Sector Lord level 6, he probably had undyings teaching him. In terms of technique and law comprehension etc., he should be stronger than Si Yong. No only that, he is also 1 level stronger than Si Yong. Unless I used the golden horned beast I would probably have no hope of winning. Masha Luo Feng flashed time and again, fleeing further and further. At his max speed, within a minute, he had already rushed out of the vast pathway. Rumble. 1,000 beasts all seemed to turn simultaneously. Howl. Howl. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed, he didn't dare proceed or retreat and cursed within. I'm really unlucky, I felt that this octagon cave was different from the rest. And it really is, by giving me 1,000 beasts at one go. In the vast ice forest, the scenery was beautiful. Different black stone ice formed all sorts of scenery, and within it, lived a group of extremely stupid but very terrifying beasts. Some were big and some were small, and according to their size, they had formed their own territory. This was completely subconscious. The 1,000 beasts weakest was at a universe level, and the strongest was at Sector Lord pinnacle. Of which those that had reached that level, from Luo Feng's glance, there were 12 of them. And among the Sector Lord level 9 beasts, 3 of them were extremely majestic, one of which was 2 kilometers long, like a giant lizard, the scales formed by the ice were clearly visible. There was another that was humanoid form, and was 800 m tall, like a giant automaton puppet beast. The last one was a bird-type beast with 6 ice wings. These 3 Sector Lord pinnacle beasts each took up 3 regions of the forest, and around them were large groups of other beasts. I'm trapped from both ends, what should I do? Luo Feng fiercely slowed down, shocked. Howl, howl. With a glance, within the 1,000 kilometers area, the 1,000 beasts all slowly and stupidly turned to look at Luo Feng. The closest 100 to the cave entrance didn't hesitate as they roared, simultaneously flying or running, some flashing, like 10,000 horses' energy rushing towards him. Kill. Killing all beings that weren't beasts. These beasts' consciousness and intellect were extremely simple. However, it had given countless warriors attempting Demon Mountain headache, there was no way to not be enemies of them. Also. Rumble. 1,000 beasts all rushed at the same time, the ice forest rumbled, and a layer of ice immediately broke apart. Damn! Luo Feng stared and gritted, I just have to risk it. So. He became a beam of light and clashed straight at the oncoming beasts. Since Luo Feng's energy aura wasn't very strong, hence the 100 beasts that were attracted to him, and the strongest among them was only a sector lord level 1 or 2. The rest were either domain lord or universe level. And Luo Feng that became a beam of light, the Masha clansman's strongest point was instantaneous acceleration. Rumble. Luo Feng clashed with the claw of a universe level 8 or 9 beast. Sorry. At the instant he entered its body. Change. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Hua. Black energy engulfed his body instantly and it swiftly gathered and formed a simple and cute ice-formed bear. Its look was completely similar to the first beast Luo Feng had killed, only its height was much lower, forming only a 8 m tall beast. Clone. Natural ability, cloning. Its energy completely matched the bear beast he had killed before, actually most of the beasts had almost identical energies. The only difference was the strength level. Of course, the energy of humans and the beasts were completely different. It may seem slow, in truth from the time Luo Feng reached the ice forest and met the beasts and rushed towards them. It was like Mars hitting Earth. There was a huge explosion. Countless ice chunks shot in all directions, the ground was littered with all types of ice. Howl. A 8 m tall, completely formed ice bear beast with an energy of universe level 3 walked out from the explosion, letting out a low roar. The 100 other beasts immediately slowed down and swiftly looked for its target, that human. However, they couldn't see it. With intellects even simpler than a cat or dog, they wouldn't even think about why the human had vanished. The beasts only knew one thing, since they couldn't find the human, they turned and returned to their old way of life. Sector Lord Wu Qi had become a complete fireball, chasing his target with shocking speed. It must be him. Universe level 9 and he was able to detect me early. And as he fled, his speed reached such unbelievable levels. He definitely has some special technique or special treasures. And these are definitely not something the warriors of the 9-star ocean have. Sector Lord Wu Qi's eyes burned with flames. It definitely must be the target the god is aiming. Only a target that the god wants to kill but cannot kill personally would have such methods. Wu Qi naturally understood. A being that their 1000-star sect leader had to kneel before and call master, what level of being was that? At least terrifying enough for that great being to not mess with. Understanding was one thing. But he had no choice, if he didn't fulfill the task, they would die immediately. Hence he could only do his best to search, and killing within Demon Mountain was allowed by the Virtual Universe Company. He had never heard of having to pay for killing someone in Demon Mountain. Rumble. Sector Lord Wu Qi instantly rushed out of the cave entrance and into the ice forest. My God! He stared. Within the ice forest, 100 beasts were slowing down, that explosion from the clash before, the ice chunks were still landing on the ground, the 8 m tall ice bear was still roaring. Hua! The 100 beasts along with the other silent beasts in the forest all seemed to feel the sector lord's huge energy, turning simultaneously. 1,000 beasts, almost 99% of them all turned at the same time to look at the terrified sector lord Wu Qi that had slowed down. Howl! The sector lord pinnacle lizard beast let out an earth-shaking roar. Rumble! It was the first to flash and rush towards Wu Qi. Howl! Howl! The other sector lord level beasts under the lizard beast, along with over 1,000 others all roared as they followed their leader, madly rushing towards the human warrior. And the tall human-like beasts and bird beasts, as well as the 2 other sector lord pinnacles simply looked on. 1/3 of the beasts in the entire ice forests all rushed at sector lord Wu Qi. My God. The sector lord squinted, his face pale, so many beasts. Rumble. Hence, the same level human and beast, the beast was actually even more terrifying. Soul attacks were useless. Even cutting them in half or piercing their heads was useless. Howl. The lizard beast was as fast as lightning, he led the way. The 4 sector lord level beasts followed behind. And after was the large group of domain lord level beasts howling as they chased. Howl. A cute bear beast followed the large group of over 1,000 beast army, rumbling through the cave and chasing. That ice bear, its silver eyes glanced about. Good. It's like what I expected, these simple-minded beasts have taken me to be one of them. Hee, my body build, energy etc., is completely like the beasts. Masha Luo Feng's ice bear, within the vast army of beasts, muttered within and followed the group and chased Sector Lord Wu Qi. Of course, the main force chasing him was the Sector Lord Pinnacle Lizard Beast and the 4 other Sector Lord Beasts. The army behind was purely just following the leader. Sector Lord Wu Qi risked his all and madly fled. His world energy was expanded to over 10,000 kilometers area, checking on the army behind him. How unlucky. I'm only chasing after one universe level 9, and I hit the beast nest. Over 1,000 beasts, among which, 3 of them were Sector Lord level 9. These 3, any one of them can easily kill me. Sector Lord Wu Qi couldn't care less about his assassination order, he only knew he had to protect his life. So. Through the bends and twists in the pathway, occasionally spacious and sometimes narrow, the Sector Lord was incredibly nimble as he passed through the bends and accelerated. Compared to him, the 2 kilometers long lizard beast's running speed was obviously affected more. As the pathways were normally only a few km wide, hence it couldn't accelerate at its full speed. Because of the pathway before, Wu Qi couldn't catch up to Luo Feng. And now. Because of the same reason, Sector Lord Wu Qi left the lizard beast behind. I've lost them. They've already left my 10,000 kilometers detection area. Wu Qi let out a sigh of relief as he realized the lizard beast wasn't within his world energy area. However, he still continued to flee, pressing on as he reached the end of the tunnel in one breath, the intersection of 817 caves. That universe level 9 was probably killed by the beasts. Sector Lord Wu Qi looked at the octagon cave behind, frowning. According to the god's orders, I have to confirm that punk's identity to consider the mission as a success. However, the place he died is within that ice forest.